Hello everyone. In this tutorial, we will cover how to create tables in PhPMyAdmin. Okay, so I'm using the online version. I've already installed XAMPP and then I'm using online PhPMyAdmin online in order to create the tables. So I've already created a database called MyDB. Now inside this, I will create a table called customer with 6 columns, and I'm going to say go. So this will ask me to enter the fields. So I'm going to say cust ID. The type is integer and it's a primary key. And I have to give it okay. So it's a cust ID, primary key, go. I have to give it the length. I'm going to say 10. Then I would have the name. So customer will have a name. So cust name. It's a varchar, so we select varchar in order to save the memory. So varchar does not take the fixed length, whereas takes the length as the user provides. So for example, if your string is 10 characters long and I'm assigning here 50 characters, it will only consume the 10 characters. So we usually take varchar rather than the char or text to save the memory. The next one would be last name. So cust last name, and again it's a varchar, and I'm going to say here 50 characters. The next one I would take age. So customer will have an age, and I'm gonna keep it simple, just int 10. And the next field or the column is gender. So customer is going to have a gender, which will be again varchar. I'm going to keep it 50. And then the last is the product ID, PID. I'll tell you what this is. It's int and I'm keeping it 10. Okay, or yeah, if it is 10, then make what is ID? Yeah, so 10. Okay, and then I can preview SQL. When I click on the preview SQL, this gives me the SQL statement, which is using create table. MyDB is the database name. Customer is the table name. These are the fields with the data types, right? So this is how you create the table in MySQL. So I'm going to close this, okay? And then I'm going to say save. And now this has saved my table. So you can see that the table is created here with 6 columns, so 6 fields. Data types are given here. Now let us enter data into this. So I'm going to go on SQL tab, and then I'm going to click on the insert tab, and now I'm going to enter data in my customer table. So I'm going to say here the first is the cust ID. Then I'm going to say here cust name. So I'm going to just put in my name here. The last name, again, I will put in my name, my last name. Then this is the age. So let's say age. Then the gender. So again, I'm going to say gender. And PID, I'm going to say 1. I'll tell you what PID is and from where it is coming. Okay, so when I say go, it should save the data. So 1 row inserted. I can insert more rows. Insert into is the SQL query. So again, click on the insert tab. So insert into customer. I'm going to say enter more values. So this is my second customer named John, and age, let's say 22, gender is male, and PID is 2. And I'm gonna save it. So go, and one row inserted. Now let's insert one more data. So click on the SQL tab here, then click on the insert tab here, then insert into customer. These are all my columns. I'm going to insert data here. So 3, Rachel, M, this is age, so let's say 25, gender female, PID 1. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the go, and another row inserted. Now let's click on the customer here. I should be able to see all my data. So I have 3 records with cust ID, name, last name, age, gender, and PID. Okay, now let's create a new table here. So I go and click on my database, and it says create table. So my new table is product with 4 columns, and I will click here go. So again, it opens up the design. So here I can enter my fields. So I'm going to say here prod ID int, and it's a primary key. Length, yes, it's a primary key. Size, we don't have to specify here. I can specify the size here. Then I'm going to create prod name. So product name, product will have a name. It's again varchar, and I'm going to say 50. Then product will also have a price. Let's keep it simple, int for now. And product will have a type. That is the category, kind of a product. So that would be again varchar, and this is 50. So now I can go here, preview my SQL, right? Just to know if we have to type, what do we type in? We are creating it graphically, but if you type in the query, this is what you will be typing in. Create table, that's the syntax, database name, table name, field names, data types, and that's it. I'm going to close, and I'm going to say save. So now I have 2 tables in my database. My product table is created with 4 fields, right? 4 columns. But right now there is no data. So let's go into the SQL tab and add data to product table. So not select, but insert. So click on the insert tab, insert into product. These are the columns, and my values are 1. So product name, so let's say product name is earphone, and product price is 20 euros, and product type is electronics. Okay, so one value created. Let's click here on the go. So now one row inserted. Again, I'll click on the SQL tab, insert more data, insert, click on the insert tab. Then second product name is, let's say, biscuits, and price is 10, and the product type is food. And then again I'll go here, click on go, and another data saved. Okay. So now let's look in the product. We have two products here, and in our customer we have 3 customers. Okay, and PID is the product ID, so these customers are associated with these products. Okay, so customer 1 is associated with product called earphone, whereas customer 2 and 3 are associated, whereas customer 2 is associated with product biscuits, and customer 3 is associated with, again, product earphone. Okay, so 2 tables are created. This PID is a primary key in product table but acts as a foreign key in this table. This is how you relate the 2 tables. Now let's do some basic SQL. So for example, let me now create here another table, okay? And I'm going to say test, and I'm going to say 1, and I'm going to say go. So this one is test ID int, and then simply save. Right, so I have another table, just a dummy table. And what if I click here, I select this row, and then I click on drop. So it is asking me if I want to alter the table test and I want to drop the column. So alter is the key or the syntax in order to execute or make changes to the table. So yes, alter my table and drop the test ID. Okay. Right, okay. So no problem. We'll go to SQL here, and I'm going to say here drop table. So drop is the command if you want to drop the table or remove the table completely. So drop table and then the name of the table, and I'm going to say go. So it is asking me, do you want to drop the table test? I say okay. So now my table test is gone, right? So this is the command you use if you want to drop your table. So drop table and then the table name. Now let's go back to SQL and add another column in our product. Okay. Now let's say if I want to alter the table and I want to add another column here, I'll go to SQL and I will say alter, then table, then the table name. The table I want to alter is product. What I want to do with product, I want to add a column. So the column I want to add is in stock. I want to know whether this product is in stock or not. So I have to give the data type here. Varchar is my data type, varchar 50. So this is the name of the column and this is the type of the column. And when I go here and I say go, click on the go, it has altered the table, right? So if I now see product, there is another column added called in stock. Now let's go back to SQL and add certain values here. So in SQL, let's have an update statement. So click on the update product, set in stock. So let's remove all this. Let us set value of in stock as yes, where product ID, prod ID is equal to 1. And then I will say go. So one row affected. So in stock, the value is added to in stock where prod ID is 1. So if I look now in my product, there is yes in my row 1, right? and I want to add no to the product ID where product ID is 2. So let's go to SQL and again click on the update tab. So update product, set in stock. So with alter you can add the column, and with update you can update the column. Okay, so with update what I'm going to do is I'm going to say in stock and I'm going to say no. So the system will write no where my prod ID is 2. Okay, so update the table called product and assign this value where your prod ID is 2. So when I click on go, another row affected. So if I look product here, so there is yes here and no here, right? So we altered the table, added this column, and we also updated the table. So we added the values. So now let's look into how can we join two tables, okay? So we have two tables, one is customer and one is product. Now if we want to join these two tables, I'm going to say here, select everything. So let's first look what is there in select everything. So star is used when you want to select all the columns. Okay, so I'm going to say star everything. So all the columns from table customer where customer ID, where cust ID, actually let's see this, what it does. Select everything from customer where customer dot cust ID equals to 1, and then I say go. So it is returning me, look, it is returning me the values where my cust ID is 1. Okay, so now let's see, select everything from customer where customer dot PID, okay, is equal to 2. So select everything from the customer table where my PID is 2. So look, where PID is 2 is only one case, right? If I say select everything from customer where customer dot PID is equal to 1, it's gonna give me 2 rows because we know in our table there are 2 rows with PID as 1. Okay, so now let's join. So this one we were only working with single table. What if I want to join two tables? So select everything from customer comma product where customer dot PID equals to product dot PID. So what this has done, it is combining two tables, customer and product, where PID of customer matches the PID of product. Okay, so it's going to give me all the three output, but from different tables. Unknown product.pid, oh sorry, so product.prodid. So select everything from customer where customer.pid is equal to product.prodid. prod ID from customer, comma, product. Okay, so now this is the joining of two tables where the values, the first three values are coming from the customer table, and then the next three values are coming from the product table. So these are basic SQL commands, and there are many more things that can be done and which we might cover in the next tutorial following this SQL cheat sheet. So thank you.